I'm not a lawyer, but let's talk about this Lindsay Clancy trial and everything we've learned from day 1 through day 10, because there's a lot going on. Now, some of this will be repetitive, especially if you've been following the trial or if you watched my first video, but I think it's important that we start at the beginning so that we're all clear on the timeline. So, this is Lindsay Clancy, and on January 24th, 2023, she asked her husband, Patrick Clancy, to go pick up takeout for dinner while she stayed home with their 3 kids, 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and 8-month-old Callan. Now, right before Patrick leaves the house, Lindsay asks him to also stop by CVS to get some stool softener for their oldest who hadn't been feeling well. So Patrick leaves the house and makes the first stop at CVS. But because he was unsure of what brand stool softener to buy, he gives Lindsay a call.
It was very brief. I just said, I think there's a generic brand, and I said, is this one okay? And she said, yeah, that's fine.
And what was her demeanor during the call?
She was pretty quiet. It sounded like she was busy. I remember hanging up thinking she's probably in the middle of giving baths or something like that.
So it sounded to you like she was in the middle of something?
Yeah.
From there, Patrick goes to the restaurant to grab the food, and then he heads home. And when he gets home, he notices that the house is eerily quiet.
But I called down in the basement, and no one answered. I started checking upstairs. First, the bathroom. I thought maybe they were taking baths, but there was no one there.
And then did you go to your bedroom?
Yeah.
And were you able to get into your bedroom right away?
No, the door was locked, and that's when I knew something was wrong. Then I started unlocking the knob. I just saw blood everywhere, and the window was open. I ran downstairs and went outside. I just looked around in the backyard below that window, and I saw Lindsay.
Where was she in relation to that window?
Directly below it.
So down here by the window well?
Yeah. She had deep cuts on her wrists, and she had a red line across her neck. I wasn't sure what it was at first, but she cut her neck. Yeah, I said, what happened?
And what was her response?
She said, I tried to kill myself. I said, where are the kids? She said, they're in the basement.
And when you went left, what did you see?
I saw Cora. She had a band around her neck. I saw Callan. He was next to her. He had a band around his neck. I tried to find Dawson. I looked in the bathroom and on the other side of the couch, and then I went to the other side of the basement, and he was in my office. I knew he was gone.
And did he also have a band around his neck?
Yeah.
5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and 8-month-old Callan had all been killed at the hands of their mother.
Yellow exercise band found with Dawson. Black exercise band found with Cora. And then the blue exercise band found with Callan.
And after taking their lives, Lindsay attempted to take her own life by cutting her wrists, cutting her neck, and then ultimately by jumping out of the window of her 2nd-story bedroom. Lindsay survived, but the fall left her paralyzed from her chest down. And it also left her charged with 3 counts of murder for the death of her 3 children. And that's because, according to prosecutors, Lindsay's actions that day were calculated. Their theory as to why Lindsay killed her kids is that she was a mother who liked to be in control. She was particular about what they ate, what they did, who cared for them, and more. And as an example of this control they say she liked to have, they pointed to some notes she would leave her nanny when the nanny was caring for the kids.
And so, for example, on Tuesday, September 4th, she wrote, last fed at 6 a.m. Give him a bottle whenever he wakes up. He likes it very warm. He's been resisting the bottle. If he won't drink it after 45 minutes of trying, please text me to let me know. Put down for next nap 1 hour after he wakes. Try to put down drowsy but awake. But if he cries, pick him up and rock, bounce, or hold him until sleep, then put down. He usually sleeps 45 minutes, but let him sleep as long as he wants. These are very detailed notes that Lindsay is sending to the nanny, correct?
Yeah.
And then she also wrote, if you have time, wash and cut up veggies, sweet potatoes, 1-inch cubes peeled, broccoli, small pieces, peppers, 1-inch pieces, plastic Ziploc bags to put them in. Next bottle 2.5 hours after the first bottle, correct?
I believe what you're reading, yeah.
So very particular about what she wanted the nanny to do, how she wanted her to do it, and when to feed Callan, when to put him down for a nap, all of those things. Very particular, correct?
Sounds like it, yeah.
But prosecutors say with the birth of her 3rd child and the anxiety of having to go back to work, Lindsay started losing that sense of control she had always had. She began experiencing intense anxiety that spiraled into depression. Now, she did try to seek help, but according to prosecutors, when the treatments and the medications weren't working and the control she once had wasn't returning, the life Lindsay had was no longer the life she wanted. And so, according to the prosecutors, Lindsay decided that the best option was to end her life. But because of that need for control, she believed that no one would be able to take care of her kids like she could. And so her solution was to take them with her.
This was a woman who acted intentionally, rationally, and swiftly to accomplish a very specific goal: to kill. She was someone who liked to control every little detail of her life, of her family's life. It was hard for her to maintain that control. It was hard for her to bond with her kids. She made a choice, a deliberate and intentional decision that she did not want to try anymore. And because no one could take care of her kids the way she wanted them to, she had to take them with her. The evidence will show you she was not psychotic that day.
So that's the prosecution side. And Lindsay doesn't disagree with some of that. She doesn't dispute that she was mentally unwell. She doesn't dispute that she was trying to seek help and that she is the one who ultimately killed her children.
She knows that she killed these children. She's living her own hell. She knows what happened with those kids.
But what she does dispute is whether she is criminally responsible for doing it.
But I suggest to you that the issue for consideration is what was going on in that woman's mind.
In other words, Lindsay's defense is that she cannot and should not be held criminally responsible for killing her kids because when she did it, she was suffering from a mental disease or defect that prevented her from appreciating or fully grasping the wrongfulness of what she was doing. Her version of events is that a voice told her to kill her kids and then kill herself, and that she had to do it right in that moment while her husband was away, or else she would never have another opportunity to do it. And so that is the crux of this trial. Did Lindsay Clancy fully understand what she was doing when she killed her kids? And of course, because no one was inside of Lindsay's mind that day, the defense and the prosecutor are using what led up to that day as evidence as to what was going on in her mind. Both sides are pointing to things she said or didn't say, the things she wrote down, the things people saw of her, the appointments she had, the interactions she had, the medication she was taking or not taking. All of that they are pointing to as evidence as to what was going on in Lindsay's mind. And just so you are tracking, the timeline in which all of this happened is a period of 4 months. It's from September 15, 2022, when she had her very first appointment with a psychiatrist, until January 24th, 2023, the day she killed her kids. So that's the background and the setup. So now let's talk about what led up to that day. And actually, before we get into it, it's worth noting that the prosecutor in this case is a woman named Jennifer Sprague. So anytime I play a clip of a woman asking questions, you can assume that's the prosecutor. And then Lindsay's defense attorney is a man named Kevin Reddington. So anytime I play a clip and a man is asking the questions, it's safe to assume that's Lindsay's defense attorney. Okay? Okay. So Callan Clancy, the baby of the family, was born in May of 2022. And June, July, and August were all fine for Lindsay. But by the fall, there was a change.
What happened in September, October of 2022?
Lindsay's mental health started to deteriorate. Just increased stress and anxiety.
Did she, as a result of that, go to see or reach out for help to see someone?
I believe it was Jennifer Tufts.
The first doctor Lindsay sees is a psychiatrist by the name of Jennifer Tuft. And Jennifer is key to this entire story because she is the doctor Lindsay saw throughout the entirety of the 4 months. Lindsay saw Dr. Tuft 14 times, beginning with her first appointment on September 15, 2022, which was done virtually.
I believe her biggest concern was about anxiety.
This first meeting with Lindsay, what was her mood?
It was okay.
And what was her affect?
Anxious.
So she was reporting to you, she felt okay. You were seeing she looked a little anxious.
Yes.
And based on your evaluation of Lindsay Clancy that first day, September 15, 2022, did she appear to have any issues with judgment, insight, or orientation?
No.
And did you note any signs or symptoms of psychosis with Ms. Clancy that day?
No.
And based on your evaluation with Ms. Clancy, everything you learned about her history and how she presented that day, did you have an initial diagnosis?
Yes.
And what was that?
It was a generalized anxiety disorder where an individual may have a lot of different worries. They may also have physical feelings of anxiety, but they're worried about a lot of things, not really just one thing specifically. And it was an adjustment disorder with depressed mood. So they don't meet the full criteria, say, of a major depressive disorder, but there were some symptoms of depression. So I recommended a medication sertraline as well as individual therapy.
And the medication sertraline, is that Zoloft?
Yes.